So Raw had to be so bad, you have to probably create a new rating, cuss word, or just a unique way to even think that Raw was bypassable in any semblance of the word to give it a positive rating. And let me explain to you for a moment. I watch Raw over for the entertainment factor. I don't watch it because I'm a prime fan of the current product. And the current product is borderline garbage. They come around consistently, over apparently sponsoring the Make a Wish Foundation. I have no issue with it. Just know they really like pandering over to that only fan base that they have that has to watch this show, and they literally manually can't change the goddamn channel. And John Cena's just there, just doing this. It just, oh my god, just noticing how abhorrent, how bad, how absolutely below average Raw has been over the last 3 weeks. Just the last 3 weeks. Just subtotals the last couple episodes of 2020. Oh god. We had Mason T Bar coming around with fake gay demolition face paint after literally jobbing out in a double DQ finish last week. And what would they do? What did they do? McIntyre and Strowman go at it backstage, and over the argument, Strowman goes there alone because he wants to prove he can do this by himself. And then it just, I don't know where it just ends in an impromptu tag team match. Because T-Bar and Mace can't be booked over strong, and they're not going to try to bury the young guys, having them get pinned clean in just under 2 weeks of them even being now out of the Retribution stable. So instead of MVP coming out there with a cane and cheating for them, just so they can get an upper hand, and at least the babyfaces get cheated out of winning. And it starts in an impromptu tag team match, like belly suplex. Dio Madden can't do a goddamn spinning heel kick. Poor sellings. Like most of these matches, I had no emotional involvement because how off the rail garbage piece PG ridiculousness they kept putting this over. And it ends over a count-out finish after they fought outside for a bit. So you can't make them pin these guys clean. And in the heels cheating like MVP, helping them win, or Lashley coming and spearing Strowman or Drew like a more realistic way to make sure the heels get a bit over the baby faces that feel like this is difficult. You make it end over a count out after you let the other part that was technically a handicap match end up in a DQ. It's bullshit like this. How do you write yourself over a corner if you're signing these guys and you don't want them getting over off taking out your main event talent? At least have a way of cheating if these guys aren't as established. That's ridiculous. And then they come around like vocally harassing Adam Pearce to issue them over a title match opportunity, especially over Strowman, even though these guys didn't even beat T-Bar and Mace. So later on, it would be literally just a one-on-one match to get Strowman into the WrestleMania Backlash main event. And I'll rant about that too, bro. I'm sorry. Like, Raw just continues to try to be below average as possible. I don't know how. Then we have the New Day segment involving Damian Priest with Jackson Riker and Elias coming around with the Miz and Morrison rapping, like singing around with MIAAZ. Like if you didn't see John Morrison's hair, it had highlights of drip on two sides of his hair. Don't know why he has like a Taya Valkyrie like hairstyle coming around looking like a Butch Dyke, even though this man, like most of these men, you can't take seriously. And two of them are world champions. One of them is a 4-time Intercontinental champion. Two, at least like one or two of them are NXT guys. Like there got to be some supplicant to take them seriously, and then they come around with a tomato spot, literally a guitar holster, and it has tomatoes, or they toss it because they don't like their singing. What demographic are they targeting? People talk about what wrestling fan they're trying to target. What demographic are they targeting? Because obviously the children don't talk about this at school. They have to have their own minute subculture to even have a wrestling community. So obviously no children watch this. Most wrestling fans are embarrassed of even talking about this outside of their own communities. You come around just having grown men, Kofi Kingston looking like a black girl, Xavier Woods coming around with the trumpet, and after literally just making a mess over the ring with tossing tomatoes in them, they don't enter the next match or the next segment. They just get an impromptu six-man tag. And there was a menagerie of freaking six-man tags tonight. Last night. I don't know how that was possible. I'm just trying my best not to cuss, bro. Like that's the best I could do because it's just terrible. Like you can't make a good show out of this. And I was forced to watch Elevation. It's like knee strike, suplex, Kofi's crap offense that keeps getting worse every time he gets older, an elbow drop. It ends with the babyface picking over the victory. Why doesn't Elias cheat? Just and they also did this awkward spot. Like there was a running splash over to the outside. Kofi, everybody on the babyface side got everybody down. And they had the trumpet things. Like, okay, they're moving to commercial. No, they just awkwardly transition out. Like who does that? But no fanfare. And they're still in the match. Commentators couldn't even save the issue. Coming around with Bodega Marinallo, no charisma. Like there's no personality to subjugate over for the goddamn commercial. Oh, by the way, second half of the show, Bobby Lashley finally makes his appearance. Bobby Lashley that didn't even have a segment to himself last week on Raw. The man holding the biggest prize in the company, the only championship that should matter in the WWE, the WWE Championship. And he doesn't even have a scheduled interview. Why? He came, I think, the last 45 minutes into the show, after a bit of a promo involving MVP and Lashley. And they also had a promo in ring. So how come you couldn't just schedule an interview? I remember when they used to be like, ladies and gentlemen, the WWE champion Bobby Lashley. Like, what? Why can't you do that? You keep doing these a point which will rip off William Regal and this blonde chick that fairly has no personality. Like, and then Sonya Deville just awkwardly sides with Charlotte Flair. When was this developed? Tell me, why is this shit developed even though the last couple months we've been seeing Sonya Deville just be the sidekick on SmackDown over an authority figure because they can't use the word GM anymore? I don't get it. You can foreshadow the stuff to get to the so we can see it in the next part. It's not that hard. You have so much wrestling, very little context, bro. I don't get it. Like how why are you have billions of dollars and you get yourself like crap FS1 shit journalists that are doing impromptu run up douchebag interviews with your WWE champion like he's just there, like he's another guy. He's a world champion. You schedule an interview with him and tell him why did you get Mason T-Bar to assault Drew McIntyre. I don't like that. That's not authentic to me. That doesn't make Lashley feel like a big deal. And he's supposed to be a big deal. The guy's a freaking physical freak and he's a world champion. Why in the hell can't I take him seriously? If you're gonna like, oh, hey Lashley, it's not like he's doing a big scoop. He's literally just there. That just pet peeves me, bro. Kept getting these YouTube level Vice Sports crap interviewers that have like no personality look all right and have no authenticity into any of it. It's worse if you're boring. It's even worse when you have no personality over the side of it. And then you have Strowman and McIntyre just sexually harass Adam Pearce to just issue for a match over the main event. Just for Strowman to get involved in the world title opportunity, and then MVP try to persuade him over circumstances that Mason T-Bar might get involved over their match. Come on, man. Even wrestling, even WWE marks gotta think that the show is just piss poor. And people are just gonna bitch. Why don't you? Well, if you don't like it, why do you watch it? Nobody else does. That's the funny part. Another non-title match. It wasn't even a match. Even though Humberto and Sheamus is coming around saying, "I'm still the champion," he hasn't had a match since WrestleMania. And by the way, speaking about champions that barely do anything, where's AJ Styles and Omos? Anybody brings that up, why aren't our world champions getting vignetted or like recapped? Why isn't our world champions over on TV? I haven't been hearing any reports that Styles and Omos have been injured in any certain way or or stuck in the freaking football stadium. Like, you guys are in one state. Come on. And it's like Humberto Carrillo, he wants payback and gets assaulted again and gets beaten up again. So it's a it wasn't even anything for the championship. Adam Pearce just comes around being butt buddies with Drew McIntyre, so he brings no responsibility to the rest of the roster, especially with McIntyre just wasting TV time, just beating this one sweat Hispanic jobber up that's not doing anything. And let me tell you something about Humberto Carrillo. He has no presence about him. I don't care if you're even a good wrestler anymore. If you have no physical presence or identity, you suck ass. Sure, Andrade wasn't the best personality-wise, but at least that guy, he could pull off some pretty good matches. Especially with Humberto, because that was technically all he was known for. Crap moonsaults, no psychology, wet hair, weirdo midget, only gets a bit of a build after being gone for several months, no charisma, and he's just there. Why keep him when literally there's no factor into him other than Andrade? I can at least get a good match out of Andrade. So if he got a bit bulkier, I can feel like, okay, he could be an Intercontinental Champion. I can't see that in Humberto. And now he's just over this back and forth feud for no reason, all because Sheamus assaulted him when he issued an open challenge. He just did a suicide dive and then tossed him over the announce table. That's a waste of time. God. I'm sorry, man. Everything just felt like a waste of a segment. And then they have RK Bro versus Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. Now, if Orton gave a bit of respect to Riddle after the match, comes around with a shitty scooter, so he comes around just looking like a J-bro with no charisma, just to force out these dumb branding ideas that nobody can get over with because nobody can take him seriously, and he just comes around looking so less entertaining, and they just beat Cedric and Shelton because they're just the jobbers of the roster now. So now they're just force-feeding this until Orton obviously turns on him. Because he pinned him last week, and Orton doesn't seem the type to be, you beat me, I'm gonna tag with you. And it just looks like an annoyance. It looked over the promo, over with Riddle, just, okay, bro, I can see it now, bro. After literally just pinning him last week. So let me get this straight. The guy who gets pissed off literally post-match assaults Sheamus after pinning him clean before WrestleMania, gets a massive attitude change and assaults him after the match. Then loses again at WrestleMania for the United States Championship. But, what's the personality direction of Matt Riddle? Someone please tell me. And don't tell me, oh, but bro, he's a badass, bro. He's a fake ass Daniel Pewter, looking like a Pewter Schmidt, weirdo jobber. Oh God, I hate Riddle. I don't even care if he has a good match. He's just agitating to watch. And when I have little brothers, so if he can't find anything entertaining about a guy like him, a character like him, and just feel like, he's just not funny. Like, he's not doing shit. So they beat Benjamin and Cedric because they're obviously not doing anything since they broke up over the Hurt Business. Literally, they were the World Tag Team Champions, and you do it awkwardly so the New Day can just transition it over to Styles and Omos. And you don't see it in like 2 to 3 weeks. So what was the point of breaking up the Hurt Business, breaking up the only relevance the Raw Tag Team titles have because they're part of a major heel faction? What kind of direction is that? And now I feel like Omos and Styles are just gonna break them up to the Viking Raiders because they're back, but they didn't come back for the show. Back and forth, elevated DDT. Riddle wins with this corkscrew senton maneuver and wins it. So it looks like Styles and Riddle, literally after getting pinned, he just is okay with it. So I know he's gonna turn on him. And then we had a shitty 6-women tag. We had so many tag team matches. It was like AEW territory. But before that, we had so they're gonna do possibly this love triangle thing involving Nia Jax, Reginald, and goddamn Angel Garza. And the funnier part was just when she tossed the flowers at Mandy and Dana. That was about it, I guess, for a bit of a twist because she's still a bitch. That's about it. The match borderline could just burn in a fire, or it could just suffocate by the smoke. It's just awful. They had a crappy segment involving a bucket of water from Dana and Mandy over to Shayna Baszler for no apparent reason, even though she barely got involved in this feud. Nia still slipped over on the water. Crap offense off Shayna. It's always the same break arm, break finger, and they don't sell it over for the next week. She's not a badass. She can't even do promos over backstage involving Nia Jax. Coming around looking like a scuffed, abused dog. Like, come on, man. Shayna's just ugly and can't talk, and she's just so average over in the ring, and the wrestlers won't even sell over her moves that correctly. Just heel kick, clothesline, Naomi with crap offense. Asuka was about to win it around, and somehow Rhea Ripley's a heel, even though she cheated to let Charlotte win. And I guess that's payback because she beat her at WrestleMania 36, if people don't even remember that. For an NXT championship. So the heels pick up the win after a pump handle slam by Baszler. No, I'm kidding. It was off the leg drop off Nia Jax. So the heels get over, even though literally most of the comeuppance they had over for Mandy and Dana played a factor. And they still made this match longer than it should be. God, kill me. Just kill me, please. Then we had Charlotte versus Mandy Rose, and this is over the authority of Shayna Baszler. I don't even know where this was even. Not Shayna Baszler, Sonya Deville, for no reason. Other than, I guess, because she's an authority figure, she has a coherent right to manually do matches for the women's division. Even though she's been primarily on SmackDown, so what's the point of this? What was her responsibility over on SmackDown? Literally, I thought she was just gonna take up more of a responsibility on SmackDown or more of a devil's advocate for Adam Pearce. But they don't want to bring that up because Adam Pearce has such a boring personality that he comes around just goddamn. Drew, we're long friends. You want to finger me up the ass? You want to get a shot for the world title? Like, oh, come on, man. Like, I'm trying to get behind these guys, and they don't make me get behind them. Like, they're this bad. So she chooses Mandy, and obviously she loses. Now, somebody told me that, oh, you think Mandy's work is going to improve because she's in the match with Charlotte? First of all, Charlotte's not even that impressive of a worker. I hate to break it down to you, she's just not that impressive. Sasha Banks is a bit more impressive of a worker. There was a crappy big boot, a running bulldog. It ends in a bicycle knee. Charlotte picks up the victory after constant arguments over with the ref. They also had a ref segment involving her, tossing her away because the ref got involved in some way from the surprise roll up on Asuka, even though he didn't. So she just asked for an apology on the guy she manhandled, just to get some semblance of a heat. But it doesn't work because Charlotte's not good at conducting any heat because she already looks like a man. It's that bad. God, just please stop. This show just needs to die. So we went over to the Raw Talk segment, and then we are about to go to the main event. That was Strowman and fucking McIntyre 1-on-1. For for Strowman wins, he gets involved in a three-way bout at Backlash, WrestleMania Backlash, just so we can have this obligation to have pay-per-view buys. If that was the case, why don't we call every other pay-per-view over a Major 4 pay-per-view? We'll call Survivor TLC Survivor Series TLC, or we'll call Hell in a Cell. We'll call Hell in a Cell SummerSlam Hell in a Cell. Like, why do this? What kind of marketing strategy is this? Just to make it feel nuanced, even though people know what Backlash is because it has over 20 years of existence? I just don't get that marketing strategy. That just feels cheaply placed and feels like, oh, did they make a mistake? So let's go over to the match. So Lashley, over the issue of this match, that barely had any argument over Strowman now getting involved. It was just an average back and forth. A spinebuster, big boot, a future shock over a counter after MVP got involved. Everything was going alright until also T-Bar and Mace came. But Buddy Demolition came and assaulted goddamn McIntyre. Why? Didn't Lashley not want the triple threat to happen? So why interfere? Strowman hits the power slam and then pins MVP. I guess this was over the fault of T-Bar and Mace messing things up. But if that was the case, why be there to interfere? Haven't McIntyre and Strowman both beat Goldberg? So wouldn't that put them okay if Strowman beats McIntyre clean? Why not book that over to have Strowman have equal footing? Why have them interfere? Why have these guys wrestle 3 matches after being in literal 2 tag team matches in the opening of the show? This just feels like the last 2 weak episodes. Why? Every show should feel different. Every show should feel like you're doing your last to get people to watch next week. Wish they watched next week if they didn't have anything else planned. And it just doesn't feel like that. Why are they trying to get worse? And the worst thing is they have over 20-something writers writing this shit, and this is what Vince has to put the okay on because he has over a deadline until this is live on television. So I know he's expecting over the bare minimum. Because it's PG. You can make an average show if it's PG. But they're trying to cater over some subculture of artards that obviously don't want to watch the show anymore. Oh, but David, you can't tell me a successful era of WWE when they were family. The fucking Hogan era! What? That's already beaten themselves. Every family know who Hulk Hogan is. Only a select many in a bar, like a lot of people in a bar, remember who Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock is. That's the big thing. I don't get it. You have the money, the capital, and the stars, and the writing staff. That I heard that some do soap opera. So how come it doesn't feel like a fucking soap opera? It shouldn't be this difficult, and yet they make it difficult to fucking watch. They kept trying to plaster the replay screen over. They don't even have a sponsorship over that. It's just a plain ass WWE pitchfork logo. So nothing felt overarching, even though you could have just done a #1 contenders match, have Mace T-Bar interfere there in the main event if Strowman wanted to get involved, and then the next week do the handicap stuff. What's the point? What makes that feel overarching if you're going to do so many impromptus? I was questioning over the last 2 matches that were involving females if we were going to get a main event. Oh, why? Why is this difficult? This should not be difficult. Just get straight to the point and leave whatever you have to do for the next week. You're not in a fucking rush. Nobody's coming to your shows. You have no illustrated house shows. Nothing is forcing you to rush, WWE. Why are you thinking that people are pushing you over to a deadline? You are not on tour. You barely have the bare minimum of stars to even push over a brand split. And you have enough time over with your staff over the way that you're conducting the show that you could just leave matches for next goddamn week and let the rest be counted off segments while having a couple matches there. It's a 3-hour program, so how come everything has to feel like it's on the fly? I don't get it. What kind of format is this? I don't even know what format they're even choosing over a 3-hour program. WCW back in the day was doing better than that. I'm not even comparing Attitude Era. WCW was 3 hours, and they were beating Raw in the ratings. Oh. But that's it coming from me, man. I'm not trying to force it to be 30 minutes. That's it, man. Thanks for watching.